What's up, Coaster Demons? Welcome to part 3 of my top 50 roller coasters I've ridden 2021. This part is 10 to 1. These are 10 to 1 are basically the best of the best, especially in the top 5. Those are like the absolute best coasters I've ridden, and especially in the top 3. But every coaster in my top 10 is absolutely amazing in my opinion. I love them so much. And you know what? Let's just get right into this list so you could see what the top 10 is. Number 10, Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. This is an absolutely incredible RMC. The airtime is very strong on every single hill. Like, you're getting super strong ejector airtime. The first 3 Camelbacks have insane ejector airtime. It's really strong. The drop is also really good, honestly. If you're in the back row, you actually get some really good whip in the back row on the drop. This ride actually has my favorite inversion I've experienced. The cutback is an amazing inversion. I don't know why I like that inversion so much, but it's just really good. I feel like after I ride this again, it honestly could move up, like, for me, above what number 9 and 8 is. I could see it moving above those, and maybe even number 7 I could see it moving above, but I'm not sure. But from what I remember, this ride is just absolutely incredible. Also, this ride is very aggressive, like extremely aggressive. It just throws you through every element. Well, every ride in my top 10 I consider aggressive. Very aggressive, actually. But this ride is very aggressive for sure. The airtime is very strong. It's butter smooth, by far one of the smoothest coasters I've ever ridden. Every hill is just sustained ejector airtime. This is just overall such a fantastic coaster. I love it so much, and it's a must ride when you go to King's Dominion, because this ride is just phenomenal. Twisted Timbers is absolutely amazing. Number 9, Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. This edges out Twisted Timbers for me because I think Wicked Cyclone has stronger and more sustained airtime. Also, for some reason, I don't know why people call this ride really slow. I thought the pacing on this ride was awesome. It felt like it was hauling through the whole layout when I rode it. The airtime on this thing is ridiculously strong. It has some great inversions too, some great hang time moments. The first drop in the back row is phenomenal. The double down is great no matter where you sit. The third lap, where people say it gives no airtime because how slow you go through it, when you don't go slow at all, you actually fly through it, I thought. Those hills gave really strong airtime, like really strong airtime. You are just flying out of your seat on every single hill. This is just a absolutely amazing RMC. Also butter smooth. Every RMC I've done is basically butter smooth. But this ride is very smooth. The airtime is super strong. Also, I love how compact this ride is. You're just wrapping around. The ride just wraps around itself over and over again, it feels like. This ride is also pretty forceful at some moments. This overall is just an absolutely fantastic roller coaster. It's most definitely the best ride at Six Flags New England. This is definitely the best coaster there, without a doubt. The airtime's really strong. The ride has great forces. The layout's great. Everything about this ride is great. This is just overall an absolutely amazing coaster that you have to ride when you go to Six Flags New England. It is definitely the best coaster at the park. Overall, Wicked Cyclone is just absolutely amazing. Number 8, Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. By far, one of the biggest surprises for me this year was Magnum XL 200. I love this ride so much. The ejector airtime is stronger than some RMCs, actually, I've done. It's just so strong. Those triangle hills just throw you out of your seat. It feels like an El Toro hill, the triangle hills, which I'll say El Toro a bit higher on this list. But this is just overall such a fantastic coaster. I was expecting this to be a top 20 or top 15 coaster for me, but not a top 10 coaster. This is actually very close with number 7. But I give the edge to number 7, and I'll tell you why when we get there. But Magnum XL 200 is just an absolutely fantastic roller coaster. The ejector airtime is so strong. It's smooth, honestly, too. I don't know why people call it rough. Sure, there are some jerky transitions, but overall, this ride is actually really smooth. The triangle hills are just unbelievable airtime moments as you're getting thrown out of your seat on every single one of them. This ride is just a powerhouse from beginning to end. Like, the first hills actually give some really good ejector airtime too. The drop in the back row I thought gave some really good floater. That first hill, which turns into the first Camelback, gives good airtime as well. This is just overall a fantastic roller coaster. Definitely top three at Cedar Point, without a doubt. This thing is just amazing. It's a perfect coaster in my opinion. I don't care if it has jerky transitions or anything, or the restraints are a bit weird. I think this ride is just absolutely amazing. This is overall such an amazing coaster and a must ride when you go to Cedar Point. What an amazing ride. Number 7, Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. This is an absolutely amazing coaster. As you know, when I first went to Kennywood in 2015, I told you all this ride was closed on me. But I went back this year and finally was able to ride it, and it was worth the wait. This thing is absolutely amazing. The ejector airtime is so strong. It also feels like it has RMC level airtime. It's just so good, this ride. Also, it's very intense. It pulled some really good positives, I thought. The ride absolutely flies through the whole layout. It never loses its speed. You're just flying through every element. The reason why I prefer this to Magnum is because this ride was more forceful, and I did think it was smoother, because this ride is butter smooth. Also, the restraints are better. Honestly, the restraints feel like buzz bars. They barely touch you. This ride is just an absolute powerhouse. Like, you're just getting thrown through every element so quickly. This ride is pretty short, I found it to be, but I don't care. I don't care how short this ride was. It's just absolutely amazing. The ejector airtime, the forces on this ride, the positives, everything about this ride is freaking amazing. This ride is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Such a great ride. Definitely the best coaster at Kennywood. Just overall fantastic coaster. I love it so much. Just a great ride and a must ride when you go to Kennywood. If you're near Kennywood ever, make sure to stop by and check out this absolutely amazing coaster. This ride is nuts. Number 6, El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is absolutely the best coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure, and one of the best coasters I've ridden, absolutely, for sure. This thing is absolutely amazing. The ejector airtime on every hill is so strong and sustained. You're just out of your seat for so long. The drop is amazing. It's one of the best drops I've ever experienced, without a doubt. Also, this ride is a bit rough at some points, but it's not that rough. Like, that turnaround, people complain about it all the time, but it honestly wasn't even that rough, I thought. This ride is just amazing. Also, it's very intense and aggressive. I feel like after I ride this again next year, it honestly could move up even higher for me, because I just love this ride so much. It's amazing. Just an absolutely amazing coaster. Intamin did such a great job with this ride. The airtime on every hill is just so strong and sustained too. This is just such a great coaster. It's one of the most aggressive coasters I've ridden. Has some of the best airtime on any coaster I've ridden. This is just overall such an amazing coaster, and is without a doubt the best coaster at Great Adventure. This is most certainly the best coaster at Great Adventure, and one of the best coasters I've ridden. This is just overall such an amazing coaster that you have to ride when you go to Six Flags Great Adventure. Number 5, Maverick at Cedar Point. This is an absolutely amazing Intamin coaster. It's very close to number 4, but I decided to put Maverick at 5. Maverick is an absolutely amazing coaster, though. The ejector airtime on this ride is very strong. The snaps are great. Like, it's very whippy at some points. The ride is very, very intense. Has great ejector airtime moments, as I just mentioned. The inversions are awesome. This whole ride is just amazing. It's a perfect coaster for sure, just like the coasters above this are perfect. This is just absolutely an amazing coaster. Also, it's very smooth. It just throws you through every element so quickly. It's very whippy, very aggressive. That second launch is unreal. It's so forceful, and it's the best launch I've ever experienced. It's just that good. And that turn out of the tunnel is so whippy too. I like the turn over the water as well. The snaps towards the end of the ride are great. The first snaps towards the beginning of the ride are great. The ejector airtime moments on this ride are great. The first drop is amazing. The launch is amazing, as I just said. Everything about this ride is amazing. Maverick is just overall such an amazing coaster. It's number 2 at Cedar Point for me for sure. This is just such an amazing coaster. I love it so much. Maverick is just amazing, and you have to ride it when you go to Cedar Point. It's not the best coaster at Cedar Point, but it's still an absolutely amazing coaster. Number 4, Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. This is an absolutely amazing Intimate coaster, and it's the most intense coaster I've ridden as well. That first turn is unbelievable. You gray out so hard on that first turn, and sometimes you could even black out. I've heard people black out on this ride before. The ejector airtime moments on this ride are really strong. Like that drop in the back row is strong ejector airtime. The first camelback is great ejector airtime. This moment right here even gave some really good ejector airtime. The snaps on this ride are extremely aggressive as you just get whipped right through them. The trim hill, honestly, you get some good airtime in the back row. Like, you get some good full ejector airtime. And when the trim hill is not hitting, you get great ejector airtime on that hill. The snap towards the end of the ride is also pretty whippy, I found it to be. This ride is just amazing. I did find this ride to have a bit of a rattle, not a bad rattle, but it kind of had a rattle, but I felt like the rattle added to the experience of this ride, to be honest. This ride is just pure insanity for sure. It was my number 1 coaster from 2019 to this year. It was dethroned by what number 2 is actually at first in June, and then number 1 I rode in September. You'll see what the top 2 is, and then it dropped down to number 4 after I got an insane ride on what number 3 is now. But overall, Intimidator 305 is absolutely amazing. By far, one of the most intense coasters I've ridden. It is the most intense coaster I've ridden, in my opinion. It has some amazing airtime moments. It's extremely whippy and aggressive. This ride is just amazing and an absolute masterpiece. Number 3, Skyrush at Hershey Park. This is by far the biggest winner for me this year and the biggest surprise for me this year. I was not expecting this ride to move up this high on my rankings. I was expecting it to move up a little bit, but not into my top 10. But it absolutely did. After my insane rides this year, this thing is absolutely worthy of a top 10 spot and worthy of a top 5 spot too as well. This thing is nuts. The restraints aren't even that bad this year. They're bad on a wing seat, but I didn't sit in a wing seat. I sat in the middle seats. The restraints actually felt very open, honestly. That drop in the back row is unbelievable. The drop is by far my favorite airtime moment on any coaster I've ever ridden. The airtime moments on this ride are extremely strong as well. The ride just feels out of control. The whole experience of the ride just feels out of control. It's nonstop from beginning to end. This ride is just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's an amazing coaster with amazing airtime moments, amazing forces. This is the second most intense coaster I've ridden. Intimidator 305 is the most intense coaster I've ridden, but this is easily the second most intense coaster I've ridden. It's just so insanely aggressive. The airtime is so strong. The ride does have a little bit of a rattle, but it's not that bad. But overall, this ride is just absolutely amazing. It's a great coaster. It is by far the best coaster at Hershey Park and is by far the best coaster in Pennsylvania, in my opinion. I don't know how I used to not like this ride. It just blows my mind how I used to not like this ride. I absolutely love it now. It is by far one of the best coasters I've ever ridden. It is by far worthy of a top 5 spot for me. This ride is perfect. What an amazing coaster. Number 2, Lightning Rod at Dollywood. This is an absolutely amazing RMC. This was my number 1 coaster from this year, from June 2021 to September 2021 when I rode my new number 1 coaster. But still, Lightning Rod is an absolutely incredible RMC. The airtime on this ride is so incredibly strong. The ride just feels out of control. It is a bit rough, but the ride just feels so out of control. The whole experience of the ride is just unreal. It just hauls through the whole layout. The airtime is so strong. It feels like you're on an actual hot rod because of how fast you're going. It just never loses its speed. Also, the trims at the top of the launch don't affect the ride at all. You still keep some really good speed. Like, you're hauling through the whole layout. The quad down is absolutely incredible. The airtime on that moment is extremely strong. This turnaround right here pulls some amazing forces. Also, the twist and shout moments are really good as you get some really strong airtime on those moments. The drop in the back row is amazing. The launch on this ride actually surprised me. I thought it was really, really good, the launch. This ride is a bit rough, but it honestly adds to the experience, I thought, because it made the ride feel more out of control. This ride is just a perfect coaster. Amazing airtime, Uh, great launch, just great airtime moments, great everything. Everything about this ride is amazing. Lightning Rod is a absolutely fantastic roller coaster. I love it so much. Lightning Rod is amazing. But there's one coaster that I've ridden that just is so good that it's better. And finally, number one is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, my number one coaster. This ride, where do I even begin? It's completely perfect. Every hill is super strong ejector airtime. It's the smoothest coaster I've ridden as well. Um, the airtime is just so strong. Also, this ride is very, very aggressive because you just get thrown through all these airtime moments. The hang time on some of these inversions are great. It's also whippy, the inversions. This ride also has some snappy moments. It's just absolutely incredible. This ride is just phenomenal. It's amazing. It is by far my number one coaster. After riding this, I just knew it was my number one. And after riding even more on that Cedar Point trip, I just knew that there is no way no coaster is going to beat this out for a while. I am riding Velocicoaster this upcoming year, and I could see that being my number one, but it's going to be hard to beat out Steel Vengeance as my number one coaster. Steel Vengeance is just that good. The airtime, as I said, is super strong. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I honestly like the second half more than the first half. The second half, the airtime just felt out of control. Like, you were just flying out of your seat. It just was super, super strong, sharp ejector on the final hills and the second lap. The mid-course was barely hitting, except for one of my rides. One of my rides, the mid-course was hitting, but all the other rides, it was not. This is just overall an absolutely amazing coaster. It is a perfect coaster in my opinion. Steel Vengeance is just amazing. It has one of my favorite drops on any coaster. It actually has my favorite drop on any. It has my second favorite drop on any coaster. This ride is just absolutely incredible. It's the perfect coaster for me without a doubt, and I just love it so much. Steel Vengeance is probably the best coaster in the world in my opinion too. This ride is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, that is my top 50 roller coasters I've ridden. Make sure to like this video, also subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time. Keep coasting on my coaster demons. Peace.